My entitled cousin demanded my engagement ring. She lost her mind when I refused.
What was that conversation?
Yeah,
She's
right?
like, I'm actually going to take that ring from you because it doesn't have any sort of special meaning, of course.
Not at all. So this happened 3 months ago. Me and my boyfriend at the time had decided to get married, but he still wanted to have a proper proposal, so we went out for dinner, nothing really fancy, and then he asked, and I said yes, obviously. And the ring he bought is kind of expensive with a huge diamond in the middle and small ones surrounding it. This is obviously important to the story. By the way, this comes from Vortex Child on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I don't really care though. He could give me a plastic ring and I'd still be happy since I'm going to spend the rest of my life with the love of my life. So as you can guess, I was giddy with happiness. A couple of days later, my cousin shared one of those "I said yes" posts on Instagram and I called to congratulate her. Wow, so she also got engaged.
Wow, it's just that season. Yeah, time of year.
Guess so. And she immediately starts bragging about the proposal. A big surprise, on a boat, live music, expensive wine, as she mentioned about 10 times in 5 minutes, etc. Then she says we should meet up with our other 2 girl cousins. We normally get together once every few months anyway, so I agree. We'll get together and celebrate both our engagements. So the day comes and I do all the preparation as we're meeting at my place. Although I did expect her to help out since it was a celebration for both of us, I didn't say anything. So the 4 of us are sitting in the living room and the cousin once again starts telling us about the proposal, which all of us knew about as she had told every one of us this story already. But we listened to her thinking she is just so excited that she wants to talk about it all the time. It's fine. But she also keeps bringing up how her diamond ring is just not her style and how she would rather something more appropriate, whatever that means. Then she asks me how my proposal was in this condescending way. I tell her that it was nothing fancy, just dinner, and he pops a question. My other cousins thought it was sweet since they knew I didn't like big surprises and over-the-top proposals. But the entitled cousin gets this weird look on her face and says, "Guess he had no money left after buying that ring." Points to it with a judging look on her face. No wonder he didn't do anything special. If you weren't focused so much on the size of the diamonds, maybe you would get a special night like I did. I am out of words. I didn't expect this at all. My other cousins are just looking at one another and then to me as if saying, "Oh, WTF just happened." I tried to explain how I didn't like big events, so my night was special enough and that I didn't ask for any kind of ring and my boyfriend just picked something himself for me and I'd be fine with any other ring he gave me. And she says, half jokingly, "Why don't we switch then, since you don't care anyways?" I decide she's joking and laughing and say something along the lines of, "Yeah, sure, why not? It's only an engagement ring after all." I'm not really sure what exactly I said as I was still trying to figure out what the F I had just been dragged into. She laughs and says something like, "It would look better on me anyways since your fingers are all chubby."
Literally stop talking.
This girl sounds like the most like superficial person I've ever met. She cares about like what happened around, like what happened in the proposal rather than like the meaning of the proposal.
Yeah, and also is like talking about how much she hates her ring.
Yeah, and then likes the other ring and thinks it doesn't matter because it's just the looks. Oh my gosh, this is just so crazy. I'm a chubby girl, so yeah, my fingers are a little thick, so I'm offended, obviously. I do feel bad about my weight already, so her bringing it up as a joke was annoying as F. One of the other cousins, who is 8 years older than us, realizes I'm about to explode, so she interrupts and changes the subject and asks about the wedding plans. And the ring issue is over, or so I thought. Entitled cousin talks about how her wedding will be the dream fairy tale wedding, etc. And when they ask me, I'll say we'll have a small ceremony since we want to go to a tour around Europe and want to spend the minimum on the wedding in order to save more for the tour. The entitled cousin just chuckles and says, "You don't have to pretend with us, sweetheart. We're family. There's nothing wrong with not being able to afford a nice wedding." Oh my gosh.
I think I told her to stop talking.
Dude, that's so insane. To anyone, even to your family, even if you're comfortable, like that's so rude.
It's so incredibly rude.
Oh my gosh. And calling her sweetheart with it too. Dude, pow, pow, pow. That's what I would do. Pow, pow, pow.
Don't call me sweetheart.
I just snap at her. And I say, I'm sure someone with enough money to buy a huge diamond also has money to have a big wedding. We just don't want to spend money on something as extravagant as a horse-pulled carriage. She wanted to get one of those for her wedding. And it's not like me to brag about money, but I knew this would affect her the most. After this point, it was just the two of us taking digs at each other while the other cousins try to find a middle ground between us. This continues until the two cousins decide it's time to leave. I expected the entitled cousin to leave with them, but she stays behind to help with the cleaning up, but I don't buy it. After we see them out, the entitled cousin pretends to help me while still annoying the F out of me until I clean everything up. Then we sort of stand there awkwardly with her looking at me expectantly. I ask her if she wanted something, and oh boy, she says she would like to leave, so I should give her the ring. There's no way. There's no way she actually thought that that's like what was going to happen here.
I don't understand. Leave. Just
She
go.
said, like, the only reason this is awkward and that I'm overstaying here is because someone didn't give it up. What the F? She was serious. She thought I was going to switch rings with her. My engagement ring. For real. I ask her what the F she is talking about, and she says, well, you promised me your ring, with this look on her face that says, are you stupid or something? I say I was only joking and I wouldn't give her my ring. Not because it was expensive, but because it was my effing engagement ring. And then she flips. What do you mean you were joking? You promised. You promised in front of cousin 1 and cousin 2. Were you lying to them so that they wouldn't know how selfish and how superficial you are? I'm sorry. How superficial OP is?
How does this girl's fiance feel about this? Because
yeah, right?
She's actively like, I don't want this ring.
Yeah.
Like, how does
you
he feel?
Imagine?
This isn't a freaking white elephant.
Right.
You can't trade.
But it's an engagement ring. Like, it's not even just like a gift. It's like, this is a literal engagement ring. And also, too, like, money can definitely be in question here. Like, can you imagine either of the fiancés being like, I just spent all this money on this? Even if the sister or the cousin doesn't like the ring, it could be still super expensive.
Exactly. Like that's a thing where you say like, oh, like it's not, you should have had a Pinterest board.
Right.
Full of all of your rings that you wanted. And then your friend should have been like, hey, these are the rings that she wants.
Yeah. So I'm like, no, I said it as a joke because no sane person would ask for someone else's engagement ring. She says she doesn't want to take mine and she would also be giving hers to me. She says it would suit her better anyways, and a big stone like that just wouldn't go with the cheap stuff I wear. I've had enough, and I tell her this, ask her to leave my apartment and not to contact me again. She says she won't leave without her ring. I repeat what I said, and she screams about how I led her on and how selfish I was and how I was ruining her dream and how my fiance would leave my fat, ugly A anyway. That's crazy.
No one likes you, cousin.
Yeah.
No one likes you.
Dude,
tell anyone else this story and they're gonna be like, you're stupid.
I want the fiance of her to know all of this stuff and be like I'm gonna leave your superficial butt. And then what?
And then what? And then what are you to do? You don't have a ring or a fiance.
That he would find someone better sooner or later and I'd be history, which hit home pretty close. I'm a little insecure about my body, as I said earlier. I don't know what came over me, but I remember her saying those words and then my hand was on her face. I don't condone violence, but I was also hoping that would happen.
But also, like, if you're gonna keep talking smack, expected to get smacked.
Normally, I would never hit someone on purpose, but I was seeing red. And obviously, she didn't just stand there after I slapped her, so we got into a little bit of a fight in the middle of the kitchen. Thank God my fiance walked in on us soon after and got us away from each other. Apparently, he just got home and heard the screaming from the kitchen. She claimed I attacked her, which was kind of true, and wanted to have her engagement ring as I hated the one he gave me. Oh my gosh!
And now she's lying.
That is so not true. My fiance and I have been dating for 5.5 years and we've been living together for the last 3 years, so he knows me better than that. He asks me what happened and I explain over the shrieking voice of the entitled B. After listening to me, my fiance tells my cousin that if she doesn't leave our apartment, he will be calling the police. She insisted that I attacked her for a few times, but gives up eventually, then gathers her stuff and leaves, all the while swearing at us at the top of her lungs. Like, that is so incredibly childish. And I just don't even know how to deal with the anger I feel.
Truly. And also, like, what was she expecting to happen when she said, oh, she doesn't like your engagement ring that you gave her? OP just has to say, like, that's not true. I'm not giving you the engagement ring.
Yeah, like, what?
The bad excuse.
Like, why would there be a fight if OP hated it? Like, come on. I was just crying in the kitchen the whole time as my fiance made sure she left. By the way, you never have to cry because you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
Search it.
We'll be here for you. But yeah, there is a little bit more. But
honestly, go no contact.
Yeah.
I would say go no contact with this cousin. She's
Yeah.
awful to you.
Yes.
She's awful to everyone. She sounds entirely unpleasant.
like, definitely don't invite her to the wedding because she's probably going to show up in a white dress and be like, so
I object.
this is my wedding.
You promised me that I could have your wedding.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. But let's get into the rest of it. She also told her parents that I tried to take her ring, and when she refused, I attacked her. They believed her, and her mom and my mom had a huge fight over it, and they don't talk to each other anymore. Her two other cousins say that they think I'm in the right, but they still agreed to be her bridesmaids. Well, sometimes you kind of don't have a choice. When you're like out of it, I feel.
Yeah.
You don't want to get involved. I wouldn't be mad at them for that.
I'd side eye them.
So yeah, I don't think I'll ever be able to forget that day. Sorry, it's a bit long. I didn't want to leave out all of the drama.
Eating it up.
That's the end of that.
Dang.
But what a wild ride. All because of a joke that you said that apparently was a promise.
But that is the end of that story.